All right, we're live in all of our broadcast locations. You all know how it goes. The records are now open. Welcome to the very first Akashic Answers with Emily for 2023. I love Wednesdays. I love setting aside whatever is alive and inviting. Sometimes what's alive in my field invites trigger, sometimes it invites inspiration. But I love setting aside whatever is alive in my field and getting fully present with you all every Wednesday at noon. Did you know that the Great Pyramid it splits the landmass of the planet? How many of you knew this? By the way, say hello once you get here. How many of you knew that the Great Pyramid is in the pretty much the exact center of the landmass of the planet? What the Akashic Records have shown me, how about this? Have told me, I heard this through my clairaudience. They told me about the Great Pyramids when I asked, was that this was a giant machine that pulsated a high frequency energy so that the planet could hold a higher level of consciousness. And what I realized about the Akashic Academy, when I go live Wednesdays at noon, I didn't realize why this was the time slot that I chose for this broadcast. But when I made that connection of, oh, this is a space that can broadcast a frequency to help the planet hold a higher frequency of consciousness, I'm like, yeah, go Akashic Academy. Welcome, everyone. If this is the first time you are tuning into this space, please let me know that you are a first timer here. And if you are a regular, let me know by saying hello and where you are tuning in from. You know that if you come into this space regularly, we work on activating our consciousness. And the very first activation that happens is when we begin to imagine the pinpoints of light illuminating all over our beautiful planet, of where you are tuning in from, where you are in essence being the vehicle that is the mechanism of consciousness, right? You are like the Great Pyramid. You are that piece of technology that when you get illuminated here in this space, you get to broadcast that higher frequency all over the planet. So thank you for being the Great Pyramid today. Thank you for being here. Again, if you're a first timer, my name is Emily Harrison. I'm the founder director here inside the Akashic Academy. I'm not a lumberjack, although I'm sort of dressed like one today. My area of expertise is in the Akashic Records, and my favorite way to use the records is actually not to do readings for you. And go figure, that's what we're going to do here today. But what I want you to recognize by being here is I want you to get the power, the significance of the Akashic Records. I want you to get transmissions and activations from the Akashic Records. But bigger than that, what I would love for you all to understand about the records today is that I was not born as an Akashic Record reader. I taught myself how to do this. And I'm doing this to show you how it works, also in service to the planet. Because when you hire me for one-on-one time, what I do for you is either I teach you how to read your own Akashic Records, or we use your Akashic Records to make a major timeline shift, moving you out of whatever timeline you are in that is not in alignment with your highest and most potent, powerful purpose here on the planet. And I move you into the timeline where you get to be aligned with your purpose. You know what it is, you know what it looks like, and you begin executing that service, your unique service, gifts, and skills to the planet so that you can live in abundance, you can live in higher states of health, vitality, your relationships thrive. This is why we came to this planet, is to experience ourselves in this way. And so many of us are blocked in the matrix. We're stuck in brainwashed programming ways of being that truly keep us enslaved to living the life that someone else wants us to live, so that we are giving away all of our time for little amounts of money to keep the power on. It's a whole ridiculous system that we're here to break. And while the Akashic Records in and of themselves are a very cool quantum technology, I like to teach you how to use them to break out of the matrix where you are imprisoned and step into a higher frequency of reality. Again, one where you are prosperous, where your health is phenomenal, you are inspired. The way you show up and interact with people is completely different than the paradigms of society that we're all accustomed to living and functioning in right now, which is based on competition rather than collaboration. All right, so let's dive in. I want you to start typing your questions in the chat box. How it's going to work today. First of all, I'm going to invite you to stay for the whole broadcast because the intelligence builds on itself. And if you jump in late or you jump out late, you're going to miss something big. It's just how it works. I also want to encourage you to see the bigger picture here. Your higher self, your intuition brought you into this space for a specific reason. Your soul knows exactly what it needs to get. Your guides, your Akashic records are already beginning to flow in so that you can receive the intelligence that you were meant to receive in this space today. And while I won't have time to get to every single person's questions as you type your questions in, your guides don't exist inside the time-space continuum, and you will, if you pay attention, notice that within 24 hours of this broadcast, you will start having new thoughts that are inviting the solution or the answer to the question that you asked here today. It's pretty cool how this works. So while you are typing your questions in, and thank you for that, because you and your questions create the intelligence that we all get to work with here today. I should say invite the intelligence that we all get to work with. We all get the benefit of the knowledge that comes in based on your questions. The show does not happen without you. So thank you. I'm happy that you're here. And while you're getting your questions typed in, I want to take care of clean up a little business from last week. If you missed the LEAP workshop, this is a workshop that teaches you how to quantum leap into the highest timeline and to do that in 2023. You missed something really special. Now, we do have that replay and that workshop available, LEAP. So if you want to dive into that, just type LEAP in the comments and I will make sure that the team gets you that information. It's a very low cost workshop that will teach you how in real time in the workshop, you will go into your records, you will download what it is that you want to create based on specific questions that I ask you, and then you will reverse engineer it, put the pieces on the calendar that you need. It's one of my favorite downloads that has ever come in from the Akashic Records because it's so focused, simple, clear, and effective. It just really doesn't get easier. But during that workshop, I shared a way to win a free 30-minute Akashic Record healing session with me. And I'm going to draw the winner right here. I got all the names here in the lid of my Kyle Gray card box. All right. So get your questions typed in. I'm going to pull one out, pull a name out of the hat. Teresa Warren, also lovingly known in my world as T-Dubs. You are the free winner. All right, so everybody, let's congratulate Teresa Warren. Send some love likes hearts across the screen. Yeah, I see some of you wanting that information leap. If you want the information about the workshop that will teach you simply how to quantum leap into your highest timeline, type LEAP in the comments and we will get back to you. Ray was there. Ray says the workshop was brilliant. She learned so much. I love it. All right, so diving into some questions now. Sylvia says, what is the most important aspect and step of moving forward when stuck and not motivated to take action? Great question, Sylvia. All right, so I'm going to tap in and pull forward intelligence from the Akash now. What is the most important? Okay, so aspect means thought, step means action, right? So the guides want to break this down for a moment so we can all get the most out of this answer. So, what is the most important aspect or the most important thought? Okay. The most important thought aspect to understand when you're stuck is that there's a lack of clarity, meaning that you do not have clear energy to know what next step to take. Because as soon as you're clear on what step there that you want to take, then you have the choice, do I take the step or not take the step? But if you are feeling stuck, the first thing you need to know is I need more clarity on what to do. And the guides are saying right now, your body knows what to do, you're just ignoring it. It's not like you need to find the intelligence. You just need to quiet down the voices or the distraction that is causing you not to see what is unseen because of all the distraction. All right. So, what to know if you're stuck? That you're missing clarity and that you're only missing clarity because there's too much distraction. So you need to turn down the distraction. You actually need to get quiet and notice the guides are saying right now in this moment, notice the connection or the similarity between stuck and not moving and quiet. So it's like the situation of being stuck is actually mirroring what you need to do right there in that moment is just to stop, be still, be silent, get present. Good Sylvia says, my brain seems to be distracted all of the time and clouded. Yes, distraction and cloudiness of our mind is a symptom of the modern day world. And it is one of the ways that we stay stuck in the matrix. It's what keeps us stuck in false belief systems, playing small, not fully stepping into our power. This is why it's so important to have times where we completely unplug and we shut down the EMF. We get really still with ourselves. You know, this is interesting and I understand it more now. I was pissed off in the moment that it happened because it, what I'm about to share with you, wrecked my New Year's Eve plans this year, but didn't wreck them. Actually, created the most perfect New Year's Eve that I could experience. But human Emily wasn't about to choose sitting in the dark, silent, by myself on New Year's Eve. But what happened was an unexpected snowstorm came through Reno. My kids were out at the grandparents' house when power got shut down, and my car was in the garage. And yes, you can technically unplug the garage door opener and pull the little lever, and then you have access to open your garage without being online in the clicker. You guys speaking Emily enough today? Online in the clicker of the garage. But my garage is really small and it's packed full of stuff. And I literally would have had to climb on top of my car to get up to get that thing undone. And this is when I realized, oh man, I am literally snowed in, stuck here inside my house. No power, no internet, no lights. It was getting dark. No lights to even distract myself with reading. Yeah, I could light some candles. I ended up lighting some candles. But I'm like, wow, universe wants me unplugged from the EMF, totally present with myself and the shadow energy that I haven't wanted to be present to. Why? Because I don't want to bring this shadow with me, energy with me into 2023, because it'll likely get me stuck somewhere, meaning not taking movement forward. So I got quiet. I got deep with myself. I eliminated the distraction. Well, my higher self eliminated the distraction. And I got down to dealing with some things that I hadn't fully been present to. Okay. So if you are feeling stuck, that's step one. You got to get clear and you've got to eliminate distraction. Then once you get clear on what the action is. It's actually, I'm not going to say get clear on the action that you take, because that's not the next step. Once you get clear on where you want to go, what the goal looks like, and I'm going to give you a question to ask yourself, which you will be surprised. Figure out the goal. Okay, so my goal is, let's say you feel stuck in your finances. How many of you feel stuck in your finances? Send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. I've been there. Again, if you are stuck in your finances, it is a symptom of being held down and imprisoned within the matrix, where your higher mind or your higher thought is not delivering to you the ideas that you get to execute to step into abundance. We all just, it's our divine right to experience abundance here on this planet. It is the nature of planet Earth. If you are not experiencing abundance in all aspects of your life, then there is, you've got distraction in your thought field, which is not delivering the higher thought that's allowing you to see, oh, that's what I do to create abundance in my life. And don't feel bad if this is you, by the way. We're pretty messed up. We are pretty messed up because our training starts from the time that we were a little child. Very, very few households encourage their children to become entrepreneurs. Here's why. Because being an entrepreneur is scary AF. And if you are a parent and you have a child, you want your child to be safe. You want your child to be prosperous. You want them to have a pretty easy life. Yeah, you can have some challenges along the way. You want your child to be on the streets or public assistance because they're not making enough money. Been there. I haven't been on the streets, but I have spent cycles of my life on public assistance because I wasn't making enough money. I'm grateful now to say that through entrepreneurship and being connected to my purpose and serving the planet in a way that is really, really important, I've learned to create multi-six figures. I've not hit $1 million a year yet. Over the course of the time I've been doing this, I've definitely made a couple million. But there was a time not that long ago that I was on food stamps because I too was stuck in that old energy frequency. And I believe that my soul agreed to do that for my own learning, but also, so those of you who want to get out of that old programming and you want to step into your gifts, skills, and abilities, and you choose to work with me to do that, I can not only teach you methodology, but I can help shift your perspective around how to do it, your perception, because I can give you an energy transmission of how to do it. And that's unspoken. It's because I've done it before. And I wouldn't be nearly as effective in doing that if I didn't have to walk that path myself. So any of you who are feeling challenged in your current situation and circumstances, take a moment to reframe and look at it differently so that you know, oh, this is like me paying my dues so that I can be really effective in how I want to show up and help other people. And when you stop feeling sorry for yourself and see it as part of your boot camp for your mission, then it's like, all right, let's get down to work. And you stop resisting it and you just start moving through it. And your brainwave shift. And so you start downloading new ideas because you're looking at something differently. Your brainwave shift. And when your brainwave shift, you open your mind to receive new intelligence, new ideas. And it's the new ideas that if you begin to act on them, you're going to get shift and change in your life. Is this making sense? Cool. If this is making sense, put your favorite emoji in the comments for me. All right. So once you've decided what your goal is, let's say that your goal is that you want to make $500,000 next year. You're tired of being broke. You want to make $500,000 next year, right? The next piece that the guides want to address from Sylvia's question is how to move forward. What are the action steps that I need to take to move forward? Okay. you must be able to answer this question. My goal is making $500,000. What does success look like? Define success. Define how you're going to make that $500,000. If you're an entrepreneur or you're a healer or a wisdom keeper and you're sharing gifts and skills, you've got to begin to look at your different programs that you have, the different avenues of income that you have, and say, all right, I need this many of this one, and this many of this one, and this many of this one. I shared with you all that I have not yet made $1 million in a year. I would like to. But I'm shifting my focus rather than reverse engineering numbers this year in our business plan. I'm reverse engineering how many people I want to serve. And so rather than reverse engineering how I make $1 million, I'm reverse engineering how do I serve 1 million people? And because I'm asking myself a different question, I'm getting new thoughts coming in. Okay. So then I look at serving 1 million people. What does success look like? Define success. How are we going to do that, Emily? And so I start thinking about major platforms that I would like to be featured on. Joe Rogan is one of them. I'd love to have my own show on Gaia. Russell Brand is another one. I'd love to be on Russell's podcast. So this is how I'm going to reach that success. This is defining success. What does success look like? And then I begin reverse engineering what steps I need to take to pitch a show to Gaia. What steps do I need to take to get in the awareness of Joe Rogan? Find his producer. So see, I'm starting to make this list of really, really focused action. So I got clear on what it is that I want. And now I'm based on that question, what does success look like? I'm defining success for myself. I'm figuring out what focused action I need to take to get there. Okay. And then once I have that focused action, that list for myself, then I ask, all right, what version of Emily needs to show up to execute that list? See, it's pretty easy, right? I'm also realizing this is a lot of what we covered in LEAP, the workshop. So I'm giving you a high-level overview of what it looks like to get unstuck and move very swiftly towards what it is that you want to create. If this is resonating with you, again, type LEAP in the comments and I and my team will circle back and make sure that you get access to that workshop. Because it's in that workshop that I walk you through this step by step. You will literally leave the workshop with the plan in your hands of what it is that you need to do. And you get to use the Akashic Records to help you get really clear on where you don't have clarity. That made sense. LEAP, love it. Yep. Had lots of you guys joining LEAP, 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 LEAP. Yep. Just one of my favorite ways that I've ever served the planet is by taking that intelligence and putting it into a workshop. All right, if this is resonating with you and serving you today, share this out. Take a moment and just share this with either someone you love or share it on your timeline or share it in a group that you like to frequent. Because as we begin to bring more and more people into this space where there are those pinpoints of light illuminated, these pyramids illuminated all over the planet, your thoughts are getting higher, you're thinking in new ways. You are sending that possibility for more and more people to think in new ways all over the planet. And our ability to learn and implement quickly, acting on the new thoughts that come in, will free our planet in no time. The more and more and more and more of us that do it. All right, I'm diving and get another question. Everybody send some love, likes, hearts across the screen for Sylvia. Thank you for that question, Sylvia. Hermione says, what is blocking me from starting my dream career? Same thing. It's not having all of the pieces. As you've got bits and pieces of the puzzle, Hermione, but it's about being super clear about what's going to work and anchoring into your why. And then it's about not knowing what focused action to take next to make it happen. So if you are feeling like you are blocked from starting your dream career, Hermione, thank you for being the avatar that's asking this, because I know hundreds of you out there feel blocked from starting your dream career. It's not your fault. It's the programming of our current society and our matrix that doesn't encourage this. But while it's not your fault, it is your responsibility. That comes from powerful teaching from Kai Van Bodhi and David Mailer to amazing colleagues and mentors of mine along the way, which, by the way, we're going to interview Kai live later, so come on back. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And so if you have not started your dream career and you are working in a job that you don't want to be working in, you're a slave. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Another one of my great mentors, Ron Malhotra, was talking about modern day slaves. The difference between modern day slaves and slaves back in the time of before the Civil War here in this country, in America, when we experienced slavery, the difference is those slaves knew they were slaves because they were shackled. Now you're not actually physically constrained, so you think that you're free. You're not free. If you are not using your time, which is your most valuable resource here on the planet, in a way that uplifts and inspires you and excites you to get out of bed and to live your life, you are a slave and you don't know it. Because you have been brainwashed to believe in a certain way of operating inside of the matrix. As a result of our modern day society, it is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to get out of. So if you feel stuck and you don't feel like you're in the career that you want to be, again, check out LEAP. If you don't know where to check out LEAP, type it in the comments and the team will circle back and make sure that we get that information for you. Okay, I want to do an activation now for anybody that is feeling blocked from starting their dream career or stuck where you are in your life. It's all symptomatic of the same things. We've definitely got a pattern flowing through the space here today. Okay, and that pattern is that we lack clarity due to distraction, and we don't ask ourselves the proper questions that allow us to know what to do next or to reverse engineer. But once you ask yourself the right questions, your brain is so smart. Your brain can get you out of any situation that you are stuck in, whether it's a bad relationship, whether it's doo-doo finances, or whether it's being a slave to a reality, a job that you don't love going to. All right, so let's see. Where do we want the guides want to do this activation today? This is where you can receive the transmission. Take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, bring the awareness to the breath, following the breath all the way to the end of the breath, where you can arrive here in this now moment. And I want you to begin gently tapping on the third eye and asking for help, seeing from a different perspective. See things from a different perspective. I want to see things from a different perspective. Okay, I want you to imagine the area of your life where you're stuck right now. And I want you to think about your oppressor. Your slave master. Go ahead and blame somebody else for the sake of this exercise. Go ahead and figure out who's got me stuck in that situation. And it's not, don't pick you. My boss, my mom, not my mom. My mom's here and she's awesome. But maybe your mom, maybe Jan Harrison is not your mom. You got a different mom. We can't all get Jan Harrison. Maybe it's your relationship, but your oppressor. I want you to think about why you're stuck or why you're blocked. Now, jump your consciousness into that person's perspective and begin to see this situation, this stuck situation, from that perspective, that person's perspective. Just to give you government, I see that. So jump into this, see if you can see MJ, see if you can jump into the government's perspective and just without charge, without morality of being right or wrong, just see if you can see from another person's perspective. If you have constant battle with your spouse, just jump into their perspective. Again, no morality attaching to whether they're right or wrong, just see it from their perspective. Good. Now that you've had the opportunity to jump into a different perspective, I want you to ask for the highest perspective. So go back to tapping now. You gave yourself the ability to see from somebody else's perspective. Now jump into the highest perspective so that you can see as many different angles as possible. You know, they say in the negotiation room, the person with the most perspectives wins. So now that you've experienced having one new perspective, we want to open your mind to having many perspectives. But here's the key to having a lot of different perspectives or being able to open your awareness is that you can't judge or you can't look for the right or wrong one, because if you're looking for the right or wrong perspective, as soon as you find the right perspective, all the other perspectives are wrong and you only create space for one perspective. And then you don't have a choice. Then you're slave to that one perspective. That's good. I've never heard him talk like that. I never heard him talk like that before. But I get it, right? Whew, I'm already seeing areas where I'm slave. When I think one thing and I think one thing is right, I don't have space for multiple perspective, which makes me a slave to the one thing. So the key to having perspective and consciousness like that of God consciousness or source, we have to take what we humans have defined as morality out of it and just allow ourselves to see many perspectives. And no, not all of those perspectives will be in the highest and best motivation for everyone around you. But this is what allows you to have choice and to be able to choose what is in your highest and best interest or what most enlivens you. And when you have a choice, you are free. Woo, good one. Everybody, send some love likes across the screen for Hermione. I'm calling that in for us. All right, let's grab another question here. April says, what can I do that's going to give me more clarity with my path? I want to get myself aligned. All right, so we talked about that already a little bit, April. So the guides want to pick up where they left off in terms of getting more clarity. First thing is shutting out distraction and turning down distraction. So that can look like actual EMF. It can look like the TV shows that you're watching, the content that you're taking in. It was really interesting when I had the experience of the blackout on New Year's Eve. I realized how often I distract myself. I work. I love working hard in my business. This kind of showing up and pulsing all of this energy through my being takes its toll, and I get a little zapped at times. And so I'll be honest with you, sometimes I like to zone out and watch Netflix. And I'll tell you, I like I like narrative as well, but I like reality TV too. And I noticed that when people start fighting and get all dramatic with each other on reality TV and start yelling, I'm all of a sudden just like, oh, shut it off, shut it off. So I noticed that when the drama kicks up on reality, and I'm like, no, I'm shutting it off. I have that like memo in my mind that says, stop watching Emily. But what I didn't realize is when the blackout came, I spend a good amount of time before I get to that stop the drama, shut it off point where I've got something on in the background, or I'll put something on and while I'm cooking in the kitchen. And I didn't realize until that distraction went away how much my subconscious energy is picking up on whatever's happening on the TV. And I know this in my mind, but it wasn't fully embodied until the lights went out and it was dark and silent. And I realized, oh, wow, this feels really uncomfortable. I wish I could put on some reality TV just to have it on in the background. You know what that's about? It's about connection. Human beings have a need for connection in our lives. Our modern day society doesn't actually give us the opportunity to have enough of that. We get very distracted, and that reality TV and that distraction that happens is part of what's keeping us enslaved. I'm still in it. I can see it. Sometimes I can get out of it, but there are still areas where I'm not fully out of it yet. And I notice it. But once I see something, then I go to my leap process that I was sharing with you all earlier. All right, I need more connection with people. What does success look like? Well, it would look like having a night a week out with my friends. It would look like creating a community within inside the Akashic Academy where more like-minded people can come together. What steps do I need to take to get there? And I start reverse engineering. It's like when UFOs crash and people, maybe it's the military, maybe it's the government, they're not owning up to that it's them that's doing it. They're these secret sanctions, I don't know what the right word is, one of those, of the military, of the government, that go out and actually get the crash remnants, and they begin to examine it and they reverse engineer it. And that's how we get cool technology that happens here on the planet. You can reverse engineer anything. Learn to reverse engineer. It's pretty cool. Okay. So back to April, shutting off the distraction to get more clarity, and then connecting with other people. For the human to be working optimally, we must have that connection with others. And so if you are lacking clarity in your life, turn down the distraction, connect with others, go back to basics. Look at what foods you're eating. If you're eating a bunch of processed food that has a ton of ingredients, like think about clarity of how your body is functioning and what kind of energy that you take into your body. Sadhguru talks about When I eat this piece of bread within 20 minutes, the bread is part of my body. I don't know that was a very good Indian accent. I love Sadhguru. But if you are taking in a bunch of processed chemicals that are not pure, whole, clear kind of foods, your body's not going to be working optimally. All right, so back to basics. Turn off the TV, turn off the EMF, get connected with other people, and eat foods that are going to support easy digestion, clarity within your body. Make sense? Awesome. All right. So the guides want to do another activation here. For those of you who this is more to control your cravings or to shift your cravings away from the processed food, the sugar, the alcohol. Again, these are highly addictive ingredients that we're taking in. When you are addicted to something, you are a slave, you are not free. Those kind of addictions numb our feelings. It's hard to get the emotional muscles to be present with your feelings. So it's why I turn the TV on, to distract me. And over the course of New Year's, my guides, the universe says, nope. Get present with them, Emily, even if it's uncomfortable. But what the guides are saying right now is everybody who is on this broadcast, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay, get really clear about what is enslaving you the most. Remember how we jumped into perspective of another person earlier? To understand from a different point of consciousness, from a different perspective. And I talked about find your oppressor in this situation and jump into that person's perspective. Now I want you to look at what thing or what behavior is oppressing you the most. Is it eating too much sugar or checking out or overeating and stuffing your feelings? Is it feeling alone? The guides want to address empathy for a second. Empathy, or being an empath, is a big fat excuse that a bunch of people are using to not have human connection. My energy gets drained. My energy gets drained. Stop being imprisoned to your damn superpower, okay? When your empathy or your ability to feel feelings or your clairsentience is operating in its highest octave, you don't walk in a room and feel drained by everyone else's energy. Rather, you walk into a room and you set the frequency like that of the Great Pyramid. You pulse out a frequency that gets to raise other people to you. So I've got some foul language running through my mouth right now that I'm not going to say out loud because Mama is here today. My 19-year-old son loves David Goggins. David Goggins will tell you how it is, okay? I was feeling my most David Goggins self coming in to tell you to quit being a little, you know what, fill in the blank with your favorite expletive. Quit complaining about your superpowers. You're an empath. You don't like to go out because you're... Come on. See where that is actually a mindset that's keeping you enslaved, because it's keeping you shut down from human connection. And when you don't have human connection and you don't have that field that gets created when your heart and mind come into frequency with somebody else's heart and mind, you begin to wither and die. Your motivation dies, your inspiration dies. You stop caring about wanting to put really good, healthy foods in your body. So begin to train your superpowers. Don't let them express in a shadow octave that makes you slave to them. All right. That was a little tangent we went on there. The guides want to bring us back to the activation that's going to help you with your cravings. I'm feeling this one in my throat and gut. All right. So make a connection point with the hands. Let's just create some energy in the hands. Rub the hands together to create the friction, and then just feel. Make sure you've got energy moving through your hands. Can you feel the energy when you create the friction? Then you can feel it. Okay, good. Good. Then a hand on the throat, a hand on the belly. Nice deep breaths. Let's take 3 deep breaths with the intention of resetting what our body craves so that we can crave clear foods, unprocessed foods. It's so fundamental. What we take in as nutrition from the outside world becomes part of us and will support us in finding our clarity. Good. This is my 3rd breath. You probably already took your 3rd breath. Keep it simple. The guides are saying, keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. If this is helping you, send some love likes, hearts across the screen. I want to know in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway from this session here today? What is your biggest takeaway from this session here today? While I answer one more question. Couture says, I have a question about how to activate the womb and create from that space after the hard activation for women, the divine feminine. Okay, what's the question? How to activate the womb space? Couture, if there's another question around this, let me know in the comments, but I am assuming that the question you're asking is how to activate the womb space. Many ways to activate it. So what the guides are saying right now is, first of all, make it up, which you're not really making anything up because no thought is original. We're only sending and receiving. Yes. Okay. Sending and receiving awareness through our imagination. So put your ego aside. You're not making anything up. Again, that is a perspective that's causing you to be enslaved to your smallness and not fully step into your greatness. When you think, oh, am I making this up? Girl, bruh, as my boys say, bruh, spelled B-R-U-H. My teenager actually texted me something the other day, bruh, he addressed me. Or they'll say, dude, mom, dude, bruh. All right, hang on. I got sidetracked with my silly self. I can't remember what I was activating. Okay, let me go back. Okay, yes. The guides want to talk about where to work in the womb space right now. To activate that energy is to, we got it. Oh, I was telling you, make stuff up. Make up your own medicine. Excuse me. Anytime you want to activate something in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your field, make it up. Tap into your records. Do some deep breathing if you don't know how to tap into your records. Meditate for 5 minutes. Do something to just get yourself in a really calm, clear space. Turn the distraction down and say, how do I activate my highest timeline? And then be quiet and listen and write down the weird, crazy, simple things that come into your mind. They might seem weird, crazy, simple. All of the above, none of the above. Your job is to not judge it, just like jumping into these other consciousness that we did earlier. I told you everything builds on itself here. But when you jump into another perspective, you got to not judge it in order to jump into this other perspective. Likewise, When you're asking questions and receiving intelligence from the field, you can't judge it. You just got to write down what comes in. Because if you judge it, you shut off the flow. So that's the first thing the guides want you to know is make it up, because you're not really making it up. You're channeling. We humans would call it making it up, but that's because we got big egos that we're learning to quiet down. And the ego is helpful for a lot of things. I look at the ego. This is how I define ego. Anything that defines me as separate from God, separate from source, is my ego. My ego is what thinks I have a great imagination and can make you can't make anything up. All of the thoughts are already there. It's like the Akashic Records. It's all the intelligence forward and backward through time, past, present, all future possibilities. All the ideas that could ever be are already here. It's just our job to grab them. And so when you ask, it's like sending out a signal, a pulsating signal that pulls that answer back from the universe. It's how the field works. So you all play with it. See what comes in for you when it comes to how to create activations. What I'm hearing from the guides right now in this moment regarding the womb activation is that the recognition that the sacral chakra, or that's the chakra that's there in our womb space, or the reproductive organs for men, when the sacral chakra is underactive, we do not know how to properly process emotion, meaning let it flow through, meaning being present with it. So if we have an emotion that comes in our field that we don't know how to be present with, we don't know how to process, what do? We shove it, we stuff it, we stop it, we save it for later. And so to get this energy center, the womb center, which is where all of our creativity comes from, our sacral chakra, to get it reactivated or refunctioning properly, we've got to be ready for all this stuff we've stored, the emotion that we've stored. It's got to be processed. It's got to be flowed out. I don't think I saw any of my English teachers here in the house today. All that you stuffed has to be flowed out, meaning it surfaces. You're like, oh man, I haven't felt this since 20 years ago when I was in that bat. Why is this coming up again? I thought I dealt with that. No, you stuffed it. And now you're getting your womb chakra, your sacral chakra, your creative centers back opening and functioning again. But all of this stuff is still in there, so it's got to come out. So you've got to figure out a way to be present with your feelings and allow them to flow. And this is where you want to be in community with others so that you can create that field, that safe space of energy where it can come out, it can be witnessed, you can be supported as that energy is moving through. It's really tough to do that stuff alone. And what I'm hearing right now is that the guys are saying it's not only really tough, but it will be ineffective if you try to deal with all of your stuffed emotional shit from however many decades you've been here alone. So you want to get into a community. If you need that kind of community support, please type community in the comments and we'll reach out to you with some opportunities to be in community in a space where you can be witnessed and let this energy flow and do the work at a deeper level. Okay, but activating the sacral chakra, the womb chakra, the creative center, what I'm hearing the guides say right now is you've got to have a mechanism for processing emotion. Because if you don't feel comfortable processing emotion or being present with emotion, You stuff it, you stop it, you in essence create stuck energy in that part of your body, in the creation center of your body, and you will feel very uninspired and unmotivated to do anything about it. All right, let's lay one hand over the other. Let's see, I've got just me intuitively. I put the right hand on the bottom, left hand on top. Notice what intuitively works for you. Thank you all, Community Couture. I see you, CMJ. Pravina, I see you. Catherine, I see you. Type in community if you need support in that area. Laying the hands over the womb, we're going to take 3 nice deep breaths. And I want you to repeat this mantra. I am safe feeling my feelings. 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 Okay, part 2, my feelings are neither right nor wrong. They just are. My feelings are neither right nor wrong. They just are. My feelings are neither right nor wrong. They just are. Good work. Powerful work today, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, if this has served you today, I see many of you sharing the biggest takeaway that your distractions take control of what's on my highway. Invest in each moment's excellent, my highest and best good. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia, for getting typing so fast that you create typos. I love typos. I'm the typo queen. Getting off medications, lots of beautiful takeaways from today. Be an empath, not a sympath. Love it, Georgie. Thank you. All right. Mom says, a tip for those who want to eat better, check out Gaz Oakley, the avant-garde vegan. Excellent, Mama. That's Mama in the house, by the way, there. Everybody. Yes. Biggest takeaway are the cravings and see how simple that this work can really be. So many times we're looking for a big Kodak moment, and simplicity will get you everywhere you want it. Like, it's not hard. You just want to be in the space where you feel seen and alive, and you get to have these revelations. See, it's simple. All of the work is already, or the knowledge is already within you. Thank you all for being here. If this has served you and I see powerful takeaways, share out this broadcast. Share with your fellow humans who are you, by the way. We are all the same one. Your neighbors and friends who are out there struggling are just another version of you. If this has helped you, send this to you. Make sense? I love you all so much. Thank you for being here for another episode of Akashic Answers with Emily. Come back at 2:00 if you want. We will be bringing Kai Van Bodie on live to talk about what stands in the way of for our men of becoming great leaders here on this planet. This is for our conscious men and the women who love them. I am excited to share Kai with you in just a little bit. So go get some healthy food. Go eat an apple or something. Ground yourself a little bit. And come on back at 2:00 Pacific and we'll hang out some more. All right. See you guys soon.